Yo, let's see. Okay, Swag, what's up? How you doing?
Doing okay. How about you?
Another Hackathon Recap call, and last one of the year. It's been 6 Hackathon Recap calls through the year. I think we started. What was the first one? Do you remember?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually don't remember. Yeah, I couldn't say right now.
All right. I think maybe Prague, if I'm not wrong.
Might have been, yeah.
Alrighty, so well, from Prague to India, we've been all over the world. Very exciting, all different hackathons, all with their own taste, and India no different. ETH Global and ETH India hackathon definitely brought some spice to the table. I think it was over 2,000 hackers.
It was, yeah. It was actually really crazy. I've never seen that many people at a hackathon before.
Yeah, crazy. And for Scroll was a great hackathon. We had over 252, was it 252 submissions with how many winners that we uh, ended up in the price pool range?
I think we have around 140 for the pool prize, and then we had 10 more winners that were kind of our favorite projects that we awarded $1,000 each.
Great, awesome. You were there, Swag, so tell us a little bit more of what happened. What was your experience? Any highlights?
Yeah, let me tell you something. India was actually crazy. It was my first time in India as well, so it was a great experience, but also very intense. Let me just set the stage by saying that when I arrived at the airport at like 2 a.m. in the morning, I was hungry, and so I went for a chicken tikka sandwich. It was like the most spicy sandwich I've ever eaten in my whole entire life. So that sets the stage for spice levels for India, I think. Um, and yeah, we originally, as the Scroll team, we originally planned to be there with 7 people, and it ended up just being me, Daniel Helm, and Christopher Lima, so just 3 people because 3 others unfortunately became sick, and somebody else had trouble traveling there. So it was just 3 people on the ground representing Scroll, and that was for the biggest event of the year, right? ETH India and India Blockchain Week are huge events. So it has been super intense. We have been nonstop talking to people at the booth. We had I've never experienced anything quite like this, where you really don't have even just a second to like do something else, right? It's just nonstop talking to hackers, to developers, and listening to their ideas and giving them feedback and helping them build. And it's just been amazing. Um, we've also been at a few side events and panels, and we gave workshops. So Daniel Helm has been at ZK Bankai and also at Protocols Conf, and also at a event hosted by Station X, where he gave a few, well, where I participated in a few panel talks and also gave a workshop. And Daniel also gave a workshop at ETH India itself, which was all about how to get started building on Scroll and deploying your first smart contract. And I think that was a really good workshop because, from what I've seen, there were a lot of people there that have been new to Web3, and so I think that really eased them into actually developing on Scroll or on a blockchain in the first place. So that was really good to see. The workshop was packed. We posted about it on Twitter, and we also posted a India recap Twitter thread that you can find on our Twitter accounts. So if you want to read about it, go check that out.
Quite eventful, and I'm pretty sure that the team was extremely tired. I'm not sure if you mentioned that, but we also had support online from Debro team, plus the honorary Debro Juan Molina. Very crazy. So
Yes, we did, and you're very right. You guys deserve a shout out for sure because you helped us with checking over some of the eligibility requirements, and that took a lot of work off our shoulders. because we've been just super busy at the at the judging in person, right? Because you kind of like have to listen to all the projects that want to present, and you have to be there in person for it, and so there's not much time to like do anything else. So yeah, a huge shout out to everybody that pitched in there.
Yeah, it was nice. It was a nice experience. I think it was my first ever time judging a hackathon, and very nice experience to be honest. I think I'm very prepared for future support to check on those eligibility checks. So, anyways, so enough blabber. We should probably get to our guests here. Some amazing hackers who showed definitely creativeness amongst a huge crowd in India. So, to start it off, I think we are going to be inviting C, a project named after CK Face Recovery. So let's bring our friend here on stage. There you go. Hello, Nalai. How you doing?
Hey, hi. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great, great, great. Happy to have you here. So tell us a little bit
Yeah,
more.
it's great
What's
to be
going
here.
on? How did you come up with this project, and what was your experience during the hackathon?
I had been reading about ZK for past few months, and there was something which I was really interested in was a combination of using ZK and machine learning because usually machine learning models are known to be non-deterministic, and that ends up creating a problem if you're trying to generate a ZK proof. But then there were a few interesting mathematical concepts that I came around recently, which I'll show in the project also, that somehow helps to incorporate that machine learning aspect. And the first thing which obviously strikes is to, let's say, if we can have face recognition using ML, and if that can be used to access your wallet. So that's what I have built here. And since I was the solo builder for this project, so
Mhm.
there was a lot of work that I had to do. And because of that, the UI is okay since I'm mostly a backend developer. But I tried to build it uh, as well as I can, and I'll and I'm excited to show it to the people who have joined it.
Great. Swag.
Yeah, I think we can get right into it, Nila, if you're ready. We would love to hear more about the project and all of the details.
Yeah, sure. I'll share my screen. Let me know when it's visible. Uh,
Okay,
can you
let's
see the
see.
screen?
Yes, we
The
can
screen
see
is
it.
yours.
Yeah, yeah. So this is my project, ZK Face Recovery, which is essentially to recover your wallet using just your face and a personal trivia. So what we are doing is that we are uh, essentially converting your face and a list of personal information that acts as a 2FA, which transforms these information into a key to your wallet so that you can use this information to gain the access back to your wallet. So in case you lose your access to your contract or your wallet, you can simply log in using your face. And we are using ZKP here because we want to ensure that none of the personal information is exposed on chain and everything is kept safe. And to we are also using a thing called fuzzy commitment scheme, which is used for error correction. So as we know that ML models are non-deterministic, and hence using fuzzy commitment, we can up to a certain threshold, we can rectify those errors and make the entire model deterministic. So the overall workflow is that the user will register using for the recovery process, and by providing the face image and answering a few personal questions. And the hash of the face is stored on the contract, and also the hash of the personal information. So this way, none of the personal information is actually stored there. Only the hashes are stored. And also, we create a fuzzy commitment, which I'll explain further, and that commitment is stored there. While the verification process, the user provides their image through the webcam, and we get the feature vector, apply error correction to it, and then pass it to the ZK circuit, where we generate a proof that the uh, feature embedding and the information provided is valid. And once the proof is verified on the smart contract, the user can regain access. So this is how a basic workflow of fuzzy commitment works. So let's say this is a face and we pass it through the ML model. The output that we get is a face embedding, which is of length 128. And what happens is that during the registration, we take this face embedding and we apply, this is got like we generate a random secret that is that we get from an error correction mechanism known as Reed-Solomon's error correction mechanism, and we have an error correction code. So what this does is that as long as there are certain variation in the generated secret, it will be able to rectify the secret and regenerate it again. So what we do is that we take a XOR of these two feature vectors, and thus we get the commitment. And it is almost impossible to get back the face embedding from the commitment, because each of these 128 vectors of the face embedding can have up to 4 values. So we have 4 is to power 128 possibilities. So now during the verification, the user again scans their image through the camera. And since this commitment is stored on chain and it is safe to store it on chain, we take a XOR with the commitment. And there is a property of XOR, that is, if A's or B is C, then A's or C will be B. So initially we got the commitment by XORing it with the secret and face embedding. So if we XOR the face embedding with the commitment, we will get something like secret prime and ECC prime, which is like slightly different from the original secret. But since we had the error correction code here, it can rectify it and give us the original secret that we had. And this will also give us the exact error vector, that is, we would know which of the bits of the face embeddings have changed, and we can rectify that so that we always get a deterministic hash. So now for the demo, I'll just show a basic workflow of how things are working. So we have an app that was already deployed, a wallet, and right now we are checking the owner information. So the owner information and the connected wallet address is right now same, and we see that the recovery is not yet registered, like it hasn't been initialized as of. And now what we do is that we can select a few set of questions from the given set. You can select any of the questions, and whatever answer you provide, we take hash of the entire information, like the question and the answer itself. Then you scan your face, and we start to create the fuzzy commitment. And once we confirm the transaction, we get all of these information and we save it on the smart contract. So we are sending the feature vector hash, the input of all and all the other inputs, and we are setting it into the contract. So now we see that the recovery registration is true and the owner and the collected wallet address is same. Now what I'll do is that I'll just change the account and try to get back the access. So now you can see that for the given contract, the recovery is initiated, but the owner address is different from the wallet that is currently connected. So what I'll try to get is to make the owner same as the connected wallet. In essence, we are trying to get back the access to our wallet. So as soon as we select the wallet, the questions are fetched from IPFS. So we just store the set of question for each of the wallet on IPFS, and you have to provide the answers. And if the answer provided is wrong, it will say that the personal information does not match. And once the answers are correct, and we again generate, like we scan your face and generate all the embeddings. So you can see here we have some error vectors. So these are the bits which were actually flipped. So the number of error is quite less since it's my face only. And the ZK proof is generated, and we again try to, like, now we have everything in place that we are actually the owner of those embedding and we know all the answers. So this way the proof can be verified on contact, and we see that the wallet is recovered. And now if I check, the owner information has changed, and thus we have regained access to the wallet. So this was the small demo to demonstrate like how this can work, and this general mechanism can work with any of the smart contract wallets or ERC 4337 based wallets or anything else.
Awesome. That's great. I really like your project for a few different reasons. And let me just say that usually what we see when it comes to wallet recovery, it's like social recovery wallets, right? So you have guardians like family members or friends.
Yeah,
And there's a few issues with that approach, even though it's a great approach. So I'm really excited to see somebody tackle this in a very different way, right? So I can totally see this actually being
yeah,
a thing, right, that can get added as a feature for wallet recovery. So that's really cool. Um, then I have like two questions for you. So I think this
yeah.
is the first time I've heard of this fuzzy commitment scheme. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Okay.
Like, is that a new concept, or has that been around for a while? And how did you find out?
So yeah, definitely. So the concept has been around for a while. So basically, in your undergrads, if you have taken CS as minor, you would read about error correction codes, because in our day-to-day life we use error correction codes uh, a lot. Like any of the information that is being transmitted from place A to place B, there might be random bit flips. So we need to preserve the information, and that's why one of the most popular error correction code is Hamming codes that maybe a lot of people would have heard about. But the limitation of Hamming code is that it can only detect one bit flip in a given scenario. But this Reed Solomon's code, this is usually valid. Like it can rectify the errors up to certain threshold. So like in my case, out of those 128 bits, up to 8 bits can change. So that's where, and this fuzzy commitment is essentially a name that we are not saving the exact information. Rather, what we are doing is that we are allowing you to have certain errors. So instead of a fixed point, it's kind of a small sphere around that fixed point. So that's why the name fuzzy commitment came. I guess I'm not exactly sure where it came from, but and that's why like it grants you the ability to be wrong to certain extent, but only if you are within the given threshold will you be allowed to get the exact vector and then proceed with the further recovery.
Got it, got it. Yeah, that's interesting. So I have heard of error correction schemes before. It's just the
Yeah,
fuzzy commitment that I was not familiar with, but that's really cool. Um,
yeah.
so that's awesome. And then my second question would be around your zero knowledge proofs. Like, what framework or language are you using to generate these? And have you written them yourselves, or have you used pre-built ones?
Yeah, so right now the entire circuit is written in Circom. So the uh, framework that I'm using is it's basically a Groth 16 based proof. So since the proof generation is a bit simple, like all we care about is taking the XOR of your image vector, like taking XOR of two arrays and then creating a Poseidon hash of those two arrays. And there are libraries that are readily available in Circom that you can use. So that's what I'm using. Like entire circuit is written in Circom, and to detect your face and get the embeddings, I'm using Face API, which is essentially a JavaScript based API. So the tech stack is completely using Circom and JavaScript, and everything runs in your browser because the model itself is around 40 MB, which your browser can easily handle.
Got it. Very cool. And let me just ask you, why did you go with Circom versus like any other language, right? There's Noir, there's a few others, right? What made you go with Circom?
Because it's the only language that I know right now to write ZK circuits. So I am like I do want to learn other protocols also. But since I recently started studying ZK, so there was this course by 0x Spark. So their entire bootcamp is around Circom. They also have one more bootcamp for Halo 2. So I am looking forward for these two also. But right now I only know how to write circuits in Circom.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
good enough reason.
Yeah.
Um, you can also check out Scroll's YouTube. I think we have a really good, like 2 hour long workshop about intro to Circom and how to write your Circom circuits. So that might be interesting for you to check
Sure,
out.
sure.
And also in the
Sure,
future,
sure.
if you want to explore other languages, I can highly recommend Noir, which is the
Yeah,
language
definitely.
by Aztec. It's really cool. We've seen people use it
Yeah,
on Scroll already in different hackathons and also in projects. So, yeah, if that piques your interest, take a look for sure.
definitely will do so. Thanks for the recommendation.
All right, awesome. No more questions from me. Thank you so much for presenting. It's an awesome project, and I would definitely like to see this kind of feature in wallets as an option for recovery. So, thank you.
Sure, thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. All right, back to Juan.
Awesome. Speaking of Neuer, we might have a very cool first time ever lo-fi coding session tomorrow on Discord as well around Neuer. So it'll be good. It'll be cool. So expect the announcement for that later. Alrighty. So first off, great project using CK, very ambitious. That's like um, very advanced on like the hackathon scheme. Like going out and using these more advanced tech stacks.
Definitely.
Alrighty, so let's go up with our next presenter here. We have a project going by the name of Ether Harbor Fund. Let's bring our friend onto the stage. Hello, can you hear us, friend? Hello. I think our friend is having issues here, so we might need to go to the next one. We're gonna have you troubleshoot, no problem. So next up, we have our friends from Pendulum. So I'll bring our friends from Pendulum over. So we have Anmol, we have Harsh.
Hello, hello, hello. Am I audible?
Hello, guys. How's it going?
Hi, hi,
Great,
hi.
great, man.
Any other teammate of yours missing here?
No, no, we two participated. We only two people.
Great, awesome. So tell us a little bit more of what you guys built and what was your experience during the hackathon.
Yeah, it was our first hackathon, first offline hackathon, ETHGlobal hackathon, and it was very great experience. Like we get a chance to meet very different type of personality, gotten different perspective about the blockchain and the upcoming things in the blockchain, and it was very great experience. And about the pendulum, so we have built like an expert and an end user connection. So basically you are an expert on a field, and you cannot like just DM everyone, each fan of yours. So we are the middleware and connecting these two people.
Awesome. Shall we get right into it and see what you guys have built in detail? Would you like to present?
Yeah. So we have prepared a small presentation, and just give me a minute. I'll share my screen.
Sure.
Is it visible?
It is.
Yes.
Cool. And so that Pendulum is a decentralized consultancy, or you can say a creators platform. So let's skip this part. So like, what are the problem we are solving? So for an expert, he will get too many DMs, or like it will be very hard for the expert to connect with the super fans, and like monitoring the things, and they have to keep their managers for monitoring their accounts, for having connection with their fans. So, and this is a costly expense. So this is the problem faced by the expert, and for the end user, like there will be a very big crowd which are following that particular expert, like asking any question, spamming random DMs. So these are some points from the end user, like they face many problems, like and many of the times they do not get the proper answer, or like they didn't get revert back on the required time, right? And there is one more thing, like if they booked a slot of that particular person, or in the web to consultancy, then there are many fraud things also. So these are the problems for the end user. And yeah, so pendulum provide four things. So like expert set the process and around a topic. So the end user can ask the question around that topic, and the pendulum have an expiration date. So when you buy that slot have an expiration date. I will explain like the whole process in the in upcoming next one or two slides. So yeah, just a base fees or renewal fees. These are some sort of attributes for a pendulum. And like how the whole things work right now. So basically, in pendulum, what we do, an expert create an year-long process, year-long slots where end user can purchase that whole process and ask the question to the end user. So with this, what we are doing, we are introducing a tax system to solve three things. So basically, a user purchases a process. So there is one scenario when the user purchases the process, he's not asking the question, or he's not reselling. So like when you buy the process, you have to specify the reselling price also, right? And
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we can only see the very first slide right now. I'm not sure if it's stuck or
uh, it, is it
oh
visible
now
now?
now it's showing. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
So how actually I was at like how the things are working in the pendulum. So in pendulum, an expert create an year-long process, year-long slots, where an end user can ask the questions by purchasing that whole process. And we are introducing a tax system here. So basically, in the tax system, we are solving three problems. And for that, like there is a scenario when an end user purchases that whole process, uh, he is not asking the question to the expert, and he's not reselling. Like while purchasing the pendulum, the process, you have to specify the reselling price also. So and the end user is not asking the question and not also not reselling reselling the process. So it is wasting the time of expert. Also, like there could be some other person who wanted to ask some question or wanted to connect to that person, right? What we'll do, uh, that particular tax percentage will be applied on the reselling price, and it will be divided into the months. Like this is an year-long process, the 12-month process. Uh, the tax will be divided into 12 months, and if you want to hold that hold that process, you have to pay that tax each month. So that's how we are ensuring like uh, the person who holds the pendulum, the process, is the genuine person who need that particular process and willing to pay the tax and wanted to ask the question. And the other thing it solves, we are focusing on the low creators, like small scale creators. So when I say that you have to specify the reselling price, and the tax is applied on the reselling amount, so the reselling amount cannot be increased exponentially. So this is solving that problem also. And the tax from the tax, a percentage of amount will be transferred to the expert. So this is an year long earning source also for the expert. So like as I've specified, like why we are using the tax system, that they couldn't hold the process. He cannot waste the time of a particular person, or he cannot like hold the process unnecessarily, and the reselling price could not be increased exponentially. And also, the expert can earn from that particular tax year long. And the one more thing here, like this is an year long process, right? So after the 12th month, there is no point of reselling the process, right? And so at that point of time, the holder have the ability to mint an NFT of the whole conversion. So suppose there are expert who have like great audience, great personality, known person, like Vitalik. So his NFT would have some worth, right? And so the holder can mint the NFT, and the holder have two options. He can give right to view, for a particular amount, or he can sell that NFT, right? So this is an asset for the end user also, like an earning source.
Could you move the presentation slides along as well? It's a bit hard to follow when it's
Yeah,
still
sure,
stuck
sure.
on.
Yeah. So like these were the timelines we thought about like during the hackathons. We like we built this whole project from scratch in the hackathon, and we decided to move into the stages so that we can deliver a project in that 36 hours, right? So like for the first thing, we specified the question and answer based of conversation, and if this whole question and answer based of conversation completes, then we'll move on to the XMTP based wallet to wallet text based communication, and with the help of Huddle, move to the audio and video based conversation. So, but we were only two people, and like we managed to complete the Venus process, and uh, like successful to build the question and answer based of conversation only like during the hackathon. Yeah, these were we used. My screen is visible, right?
It's visible, but it's stuck on the how does it work slide. I think it's just frozen probably. Oh, now it's updated
Uh,
to tech and tools.
yeah. So these were the tech and tools we have used, and thanks for thanks to the scroll like for choosing us for the prize money, and yeah, these are our future goals. Like we only successful to complete this Venus process, like a question and answer based of communication process, and we are thinking like to move on with the move forward with this project, and to integrate the text message based of conversation and audio and video based of conversation also, and this whole like the end user can earn from these things to give right to view resell that particular NFT, or the expert is also earning. So yeah, this whole thing is the pendulum,
All right.
and
Thank you so much for presenting that. I hope it was still understandable for the audience, even though the slides were kind of frozen. I think it's just probably an internet connection issue, but yeah, thanks so much for presenting. I think this project is a really fun way of, giving access to knowledge, and kind of like gamifying that a bit, right? It's a very fun way of handling the issue that you're tackling. Um, can I just ask you, have you been inspired to build this by something? Like, was there anything that made
yeah,
you be like,
yeah, this was one of my friend's idea, and it is based on like a ore blend, the Eric Wall thing. If you know, like there is a particular website like Overblend, and like there, expert have to create their own smart contracts, uh, and there is only question and answer based of conversation, and there is no minting process. And yeah, I forgot to mention that there is uh, like a rating and a refunding system also in our project. So like if the expert couldn't answer the question within the cool down time, so you can refund your amount. And there is one more thing to like rate the expert, like uh, if you are unsatisfied with the answers, so this whole system, but this is not provided into the overblend. And like this was one of my friend's idea, and he presented it in front of like Polychain and Polychain Ventures, like, and Lightspeed Ventures. It was an incubation center, and like they wanted a prototype, and so we tried to build a prototype into the hackathon.
got it? That's pretty cool. I am familiar with Eric Wall and the orb thing, which was a really funny thing when it first happened. So yeah, it's cool to see a prototype that's kind of like expands on the original idea with minting and all of the features you talked about. So that's pretty cool. Um, So you were a two-person team, right? Which of you did like the smart contracts? And I assume,
I did.
uh, cool. And Harsh,
Yeah.
what did you do for the project?
Yeah, basically I was like going for the front end side, and I was like integrating the smart contract for the front end side. Like we had like creating the profile and uh, like the creating the process that we have, like similar to the outline. So I was doing that part too.
Like hackathon was very hectic for us. Like a day before the submission, we started getting the stack deep down errors, and we changed the whole architecture of our smart contract. So the smart contract takes a lot of time from our side.
Got it, got it. Yeah, there's never such a thing as a hackathon that's not hectic, I think. Um, yeah, that's awesome. How was your experience on Scroll, actually, developing and deploying on Scroll? Any issues, or was it smooth?
Yeah, it was totally smooth. Like we couldn't like we didn't want to we haven't learned any new thing, or like it was like generally like the other chains, and we are like new to ZK and all. So we would go for the ZK and like try to learn these things, like how these things work. We have the experience with the side chain, and but this is the new thing for us, and yeah, we are learning. We have just started these things, so it was like uh, easy for us on Scroll also, like to deploy. It goes quickly.
All right, cool. That's great to hear, and I hope to see you stick around the Scroll ecosystem. And yeah, thank you guys so much for building on Scroll and for presenting here. I have no more questions, and yeah, thank you. And back to
Okay.
Juan.
That's two down. Swag. Let's bring in our third guest of the day. Let's try again with Ether Hardware Fund. Friend, we're gonna bring you in. Let's see. Alrighty, can you hear us?
We still cannot hear you, unfortunately.
Yep. Okay, so it seems to be the case that we cannot bring our friend here on board. So if you want to catch his project, you can find it on the tweet thread for this call, where we posted the links for each one of the dev folios for these projects. So let's try to close it off with the last presentation of the day. I'm gonna be bringing in the last project, which is our friends from Decentral Law. Interesting, interesting. Let's see. Our friends messaging. One sec. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna bring in. Let's see, Adele, Gayatri. Can you guys hear us?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, I
Awesome.
can hear you.
Hey
Great,
guys.
great. Alrighty, so you guys can take it away. What are you guys building? How was the hackathon? What do you guys think? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. I can hear both of you.
Uh, the hackathon was actually a very great experience for us. We are not actually quite experienced Web3 developers. We are quite into Web2,
Oh,
but we
nice.
were actually new to Web3. Just months before ETH India, I guess we started deeper into Web3. So our concept rose from the idea that the entire concept of the ETH India hackathon, or basically the global hackathons, was to implement Web3 in a more better way, right? So what we had in mind was actually, trying to replace what Web2 has created is not a great idea for us in our concept. Trying everything that Web2 has placed in this world and trying to replace that with Web3 is not actually possible. So we tried going in that direction, and that's how we finally reached at our idea. And with the help of a friend also too, she actually guided us to this idea. Actually, in our country, the advocates and lawyers are licensed through a bar council system. So in this present era of 2023, they require presence of the lawyers to submit their certificates as well as to get their licenses from them. There's no digitalization or any forms of digital applications there. So what we thought was trying to implement the Web3 in that particular field. So our project mainly issues a bar council license, places an intermediate between the bar council as submitting the certificates and documents to the authorities and receiving the licenses for the lawyers in the form of decentralized tokens. That means they get, instead of receiving the documents, they receive the hash value or the reference key to access their license. That means they can present their license.
We actually assume. I think you missed a point that we have assumed that most of the universities in like in India are like they already have their certificates as tokens. We already assume they are tokenized, and we just take in their bar exam the CID and the university CID into account to get the hash value.
It's
Arthur, you
great.
can continue.
Yeah. So that was basically a project. In India itself,
Yeah. So
taking an example of what Gayatri said, the India's CBSE certificates have started to become tokenized. So what we have is a similar system. We have assumed that there is also an exam for bar council. An exam is being held for the advocates. So we assume that even that certificate is tokenized, and we just have to feed in two inputs from the lawyer side, and that's all we need for the verification process. The verification has to be done in the authorities, but our data submission is basically concise to just two input fields. And the output that we receive is something that we have concentrated on, because the current system, we have a lawyer registry in our country that basically shows the phone number of the person in a huge website in 4 block tiles. The website consists of 4 block tiles per person, and the phone
I
number
can
is,
even show you the website. Yeah, I think that makes more clear.
yeah.
That is, on searching Kerala State Bar Registry, you actually get a whole detail of every advocate who has the license in Kerala. So, which is a huge drawback
Actually,
because you
one
can
of
get
our
any the like whole phone numbers are exposed and whole of their details are exposed in their website.
Actually, one of the friends who guided us to this idea was actually an advocate, and she was pestered by this website. Actually, some of them found a number. They started messaging her, and it created a lot of havoc for her. So that's actually another thing. We have the output is we're just explaining the concept. We'll be showing a demo of the project also. So basically, that's what our project is all about. Gayatri, are you showing the slides, or I mean the
Uh,
I think I need not show the slides.
not
We
slides? I meant
shall we just straight get into the demo?
Yeah, we can do that.
well, yeah, whatever is best for you guys, for sure.
Yeah, you can show it. Arthur.
okay.
Let me know once you share the screen because I don't see it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, great.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. The current lawyer registry actually. This is the current system. So this is actually the situation of the website. The number is visible here, the place. This number actually causes a lot of problem for the advocate. So coming to our project, this is actually the interface. So here we have the bar exam CID, this exam that the advocates attend for being licensed. So suppose I've actually created a dummy data for this. So we feed in some number
I think the voice gets stuck.
and they retrieve a certain hash.
Is it the same?
But here, for
I
demonstration
know it's
purposes, we try
interrupting,
to
but can
display.
I please know if it's getting stuck or not?
I can hear it fine. There's like some slight delay sometimes, but I think it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, you can continue.
Suppose we feed in an exam ID and we give the degree certificate ID. Try to upload. Actually, both of these are tokenized. So uploading this value means the document as such. And we generate a hash from the hash key. And this process is actually a verification process. We just showed this for a demonstration purpose. And when we try to retrieve that value, we get the tokenized
The
license.
particular hash key is used to verify the document so that you get your
Uh,
license as shown.
And yeah, we use the concept of Web3 so that it's non editable, it's immutable, and creating an additional layer of security to avoid any malpractices or any sort of problems in the verification. So that's our project actually.
All right,
And
awesome.
this is actually
And even this process of acquiring licenses requires it requires physical presence in India current situation. That is, you have to submit your certificates and all physically to acquire this, and which is actually a hassle. So we have tried to solve down that too.
All right, very cool. Thank you guys so much for presenting. So let me attempt to summarize what you've built. So basically, in India, there's this bar council system for lawyers. Like if you want to register for a certificate, then you have to be there in person, and you also have to submit like pages of information, right? So it's a very cumbersome process. And in addition to that,
yeah.
your personal information is being made public on their website, basically, which is not great, right?
Yes.
Because you don't want everybody in India to be able to look up your mobile number and call you or send you messages. And so what you have built is basically a better system for this whole process, which means that you don't have to submit as much information. You just submit like the hashed value, I think, and then you get your certificate without leaking all your personal information as well, right? So you keep that like there's nothing there that could be shared, essentially. Is that an accurate
Yes.
description of what you guys have built?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
All right, awesome. And can you elaborate a bit on the hashed part of it? Like what exactly is happening there?
So actually, the values that we send, one of it is the degrees certificate CID. That is, we assume that's what Gayatri actually made a point. We assume that the certificate is tokenized because the process has started in a section in India, and the exam certificate also we have assumed that it is tokenized. So actually, the process remains the same, but we have digitalized it and decentralized it by feeding in the data for the authorities as a form of application submission. They verified it from their part. We actually made a point to ensure that using Web3 here adds another layer of security, because since the certificates is tokenized, we can't do any malpractice or make any edits in the certificates, because it's quite a common process in India of making such edits in submissions. Uh, and from the government part, after the license is certified, they perform the same process of tokenizing it and sending us the hash key. Not Actually, we shorten the hash key so that it's more usable for the license for the advocate. Suppose if it was a 32 character long string, we can't actually carry it along with us, right? It's hard to keep it in our mind. The string that we have generated is about 6 to 8 characters long, which is quite handy for the advocates.
Got it. Awesome. Thanks so much for explaining that one more time.
So
Go ahead.
in addition to this, we're actually planning to present this as a government proposal to actually implement it in our country. We have and the person that I mentioned before, who inspired us towards this idea, her project is she's also planning to submit it as a government proposal. So we are planning to submit both of these as official projects for the government, We don't know how much the acceptance part. We don't know because it's Web3 and there's a chance of resistance from the government. But we're still trying our part. And I'd like to inquire about if there are any grants or grants that we can seek from the scroll side.
So first of all, it's really great that you're trying to actually make this a thing by submitting a proposal to the government. That's like one of the reasons why we chose this project as one of our winners at Scroll, because it solves an actual tangible use case, right? That's what
Yeah.
we really liked about this. Regarding
Yes.
grants on Scroll, right now we don't have a public grants program. That might change in
Okay.
the future, but right now we don't have such a thing. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled on any updates on that front. But yeah, I can't give any details or specifics right now. But yeah, I would love
Okay.
to
Okay.
see that being actual, an actual real thing in the Indian government to really streamline this process and fix all these issues with this process. So
Yes.
yeah, that's an exciting project. I really liked the real world use case here, which is something you don't often see in Web3 projects. And yeah, that's it from our end. No more questions. Thank you guys so much for presenting.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, and back to you, Juan.
So we're closing in into the hour. Is this the first time ever we finish under an hour? I
It might
wonder.
be, but
All right,
we also had a project having trouble. So
right.
technically,
Looks like cheating, technically speaking.
yeah.
Great. So amazing projects here today. Something that stands out to me is the fact that projects do sometimes evolve into actual fleshed out products or um, bigger projects from these hackathons. And here in the last presenter here, they're looking forward to expand that to real world use case by making proposals to governments even. So very exciting to see how hackathons can drive um, this this my brain collapsed. Sorry, what was I gonna say?
I think we know what you're trying to say here. It's just cool to see that sometimes when something is built at a Web3 hackathon, it can still have a real world use case that actually becomes tangible in the real world. So yeah, I think we're with you on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also going back to one of the questions here about support, I think it's important for projects that are building on hackathons and want to like keep building to let the team know, let us know, so we can make sure to have acknowledgement of that and support wherever we can. Maybe not through the grants programs, but for sure there are other avenues where we can support and guide. Um, the team's building on Scroll. So with that, I think we're ready to wrap up our last hackathon recap call of the year. Um, I think I'm pretty excited about next year. We're gonna have the hackathon recap initiative from the beginning of the year, so it's gonna be really exciting to see how many hackathons we can tackle through the whole year. This year we did 6. I want to say that maybe next year we can do 15. What do you think?
Let's see, but I think we didn't do a call for every single hackathon this year, right? I think there's like 2 or 3 that we didn't, and there's also hackathons that took place in Asia or China that, as English speakers, we couldn't cover. So, um, uh, just
That
due
did
to the
have a
language barrier.
recap though. They did
That
have
did
some
have a
sort of
recap?
recap. Yeah. So Hangzhou, was it?
Yeah, Eve Hangzhou, I think.
Hangzhou, yeah. They did have some sort of recap with the hackers and the community in Chinese. So it is also expanding to other languages as well.
Oh,
As for the
nice.
English one, this time around, we did realistically we did 5. Okay, I get it. But let's see if we can kick that number up to 15 for next year. It'll be pretty cool. Let's see if we have any. We have some greetings from Brazil. I don't think we have many questions here today, so I think we're good to go. We're good to close it off here. We just a couple reminders or announcements. We are going to be having our lo-fi coding session tomorrow on Discord. You can also find us on our office hours this next Friday. I think we're going to have as guests one of our security leads, and we're going to have some other fun people join this next office hours and tell us more about what's going on within Scroll. So with that, thank you, Swag, again for an amazing year. It was just a pleasure to bring this initiative to the table for the Scroll community, for the Scroll hackers. And I'm excited to see what we can turn this into for next year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And thanks, Juan, for co-hosting with me. And let's wrap it up. We are right on time. Last call of the year.
Awesome. So see you, everybody. Take care and peace.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody who presented. See you. Bye.